Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Deveci, your host. I'm welcoming you episode 161. We are in season 5 in the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. Quote of the day, as you know, we have a great partnership with missionstatements.com, and here's the quote of the day. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Okay, great. Well, we have a special guest in the American Business Podcast. Let's invite our guest to our stage and let's get the conversation started. Hello, Dana. Welcome to the American Business Podcast.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you so much. Nice to see you, and thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. It's very nice to meet you in the American Business Podcast. Thank you for joining us. How are you? How is your week going so far?
Good. I'm happy it's the end of the week. It's Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. It was a great week, but it was a long one.
Yeah, this is good. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I love Fridays as well, and especially for the American Business Podcast interviews. Friday is the best day. So I think we picked the right day for the interview. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Where are you connecting from?
I'm connecting from New York as well. So
Okay.
we're neighbors, but in this
Yes.
city with millions, millions but I'm coming to you live from Manhattan today.
Yes. Yeah. This is good. Yes. I mean, we love the fact that we are actually streaming from New York City, which is the capital of the business for the U.S., for the nation, as well as globally. So that's a privilege for us. And actually, earlier this month, we celebrated our first anniversary, and we had the honor of receiving certificate of recognition from the city of New York. So that was such an honor. Yes, that was great. So yeah, we are very happy to receiving that, and that's very motivational. And yeah, it's a privilege to stream from New York and to the nation, of course. This is a great
Yeah.
experience.
Congratulations. I knew about the year, but I didn't know about the recognition. So
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, I've been looking forward to this conversation. We love to learn from you, from your professional insights today. Why don't we get started? As a start, would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our listeners and to our viewers?
absolutely. My name is Dana Edelman, and I am a corporate affairs professional. I currently work with a firm called LSG, and we are a public affairs and strategic communications firm that sits at the intersection of public affairs, communications, and helping clients, navigate all of the challenges that they might have to face in today's environment. So, as you can imagine, it's every day looks a little bit different, and every day is exciting. We work across different industries as well, so we get to see it all. But I come to the consultancy side from Heineken, where I spent over a decade working for their operations in the US as well as in Europe and in Southeast Asia. And really got to not only explore different cultures and working environments during my time there, but touch everything in the communications landscape, from crisis communication to transformation, change management, internal comms, brand communications as well. So I like to think I'm a jack of all trades in that sense. And I got to see and work with every type of function, from marketing to sales to supply chain, over those 10 years.
Yes, you just mentioned international business and your experience. That's great. So, as an American podcast, we are of course US oriented. At the same time, we have a large audience, international audience, in different parts of the world. So we always welcome anything about international business as well. Also, I understand you're also a published author. Would you like to tell us about it?
I am. Yeah, I published my first book, the youngest one in the room,
Congratulations.
a few months ago. Thank you. Thank you. And it's been a joy to bring this story to life. It's a memoir of the first 10 years and of my career and how I navigated the corporate ladder in those first 10 years. And, it's an interesting one because it's done upon reflection, and I'm still progressing in my career, but we don't have a lot of people who take the time to look back and reflect after that first decade, and that's what the book became. And I've heard from readers across different industries and different generations that there's something for everyone in there, whether you're first starting a career or you're at the very end. or even those who have retired. It gave them a lot of inspiration, when looking back and forcing them to think about their careers, the highs, the lows, and what they learned from all of it. So yeah, it's available on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com, and it's great graduation gifts for those about to enter the workforce. But also, I've heard it's making for a great team gift as well.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful.
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
great. Well, congratulations with the book. And what made you write the book?
Really great question. A few years ago, it's back in 2021, I was doing a bit of career exploration of where I wanted to take my career next, and working with an executive coach. And she really encouraged me to start writing down some of these stories I was telling her. And that I fell into her trap of trying to figure out what was the learning with each story. But what she gave me was the gift of reflection. And that, as I grow in my career, has stuck with me. And as I kept writing for her, I realized, this is a human story at the end of the day, and your story is going to look very different than my story, but we can learn from each other. And you might make the same mistakes I made, but in a very different situation and scenario. Until you go through it yourself, it's not going to stick. But then when you read someone else's story, there's that resonance as well, and some aha moments. So, I took a leap of faith and I put my story out there. And now the best part is getting to meet people like you and hearing their stories.
Yeah, this is great. Well, how did you get started? Can you tell us about your career journey a little bit?
Absolutely. I entered the workforce at a tricky time. It was at the height of the financial collapse. And I remember at that time trying to decide, which route do I want to go? My degree from university was in journalism. Journalism was beginning to die. The rise of social media was up and coming, and the whole landscape was changing. And so I found my way to a consultancy at the time, a communications consultancy. And while I was there, I started to realize two things. One, I really enjoyed getting to know my clients and their business. And two, I actually want to be inside of one of these businesses, and I want to be helping to drive internal business strategy and helping to grow a business. And I guess then there was like a third pillar as well of, I want to do that on an international scale. So I spent a few years learning all that I could from a communications landscape. How do you work with executives? How do you tell a brand story? How do you launch a new product? How do you launch a new campaign? How do you work with a bank during the foreclosure crisis? And I just tried to act as a sponge. And that, after a few years, took me to join Heineken, and from there, get myself into the corporate world. And then that global career took off from there.
What is the secret of your success?
Curiosity. I think always wanting to know more, why or what or how. When I first joined Heineken, I had become a communications expert, but I didn't know much about business. I didn't have an MBA. I didn't have your typical background to end up in a corporate position like that. And I learned because I was curious. I asked questions, and I tried to, again, be a sponge. I wanted to know how the supply chain worked, and I wanted to understand why marketing, where the insights were coming from that was driving creative campaigns. How does sales work? How does sales work in the alcohol industry, which is regulated and not direct to consumer? We go through in the US what's called the 3-tier system through distributors. So staying curious, trying to go to uncomfortable places and get out of my comfort zone was definitely a theme in those early years for building and growing.
Well, okay. How about your industry? Can you tell us the state of your industry nowadays?
Yeah. Every industry is changing, right? So I can talk about this from a few different angles. I'll give the brief highlight of, from a public affairs and communications perspective, those used to be two very separate lanes. You had, what was going on from the government perspective, whether that be state, local, federal, and then you had communications, and they have morphed so much over the last few years. No company can get out there and say anything without taking into consideration what repercussions it might have from a regulatory standpoint. So that's definitely one shift in my specific field. That said, having come out of the alcohol industry, we're looking at major shifts in consumer preference with, Gen Z on average drinking less than older generations. So like, how is that shifting the beverage innovation landscape? It is greatly. And, we read about that in the news quite often, whether you're inside the industry or without. But I think the real thing, and I know we'll get into this in a little bit, so I don't want to touch too much about it, is how does technology, AI in particular, play a role in all of this, whether it's changing the corporate landscape or the individual functions within the corporations. Everyone's being impacted by it. And if you're not becoming buddies with the robots, you're getting left behind.
Yes, actually, that was my last question, and you just actually talk about a little bit. The impact of AI is something that we talk about in the American Business Podcast, because of the impact on business models, small businesses, mid-sized businesses, as well as enterprise-size organizations, of course. Just to continue this conversation, how do you see the impact of AI on business nowadays?
My answer today is very different from what my answer would have been a few years ago. And I like to think that's because of progress, right? You start to realize the magnitude of the change, and then you figure out how to make peace with it. It's its own change journey in itself. But I like to look at AI as, let's go back in time to, the early 1900s when we had the Industrial Revolution sweeping across the globe, and in the US in particular, right? So we went from factories that relied on the hands of the humans to machines. And could you imagine if we lived at that time, everyone probably was freaking out, right? What's going to happen to my job? I'm not going to have a job. I'm going to be out on the streets because the machine is coming. Fast forward now, here we are again, and we're at this incredible turning point where there's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of unknown, there's a lot of uncertainty. But if we can learn from the past, I think we all should have a little bit of faith that we will evolve, our jobs will evolve, and there will be a place for all of us in this new order. And so I can't predict the future. I don't know what the future of, my industry looks like. But what I can say is I definitely don't want to be one of those people who is pretending like it's not going to happen. So I try to embrace it as much as I can. As someone who prides themselves on writing, it can be really hard to go to Claude or to ChatGPT and ask them to do something for me. But I know I have to. And I've been playing a lot over the last year and a half, as we all have. And I also took a course through Harvard Business School that got into the essentials of AI for business. And I recommend, it doesn't have to be Harvard. It could be, any institution or organization. But if anyone feels like they've fallen behind or they're not quite there yet, jump in, educate yourself, get out there and figure out how to become part of the transition and transformation instead of being behind it.
How do you define leadership, and what are the great leadership qualities a good leader must have?
I think a great leader needs to listen louder than you speak, which might seem counterintuitive to many leaders who think they always have to have the answer or be the strongest voice. I actually found that that's not true. More often than not, that backfires, particularly when you're stepping into a new role or a new executive position. Listen, go on that listening tour, learn, understand, obviously start formulating your own strategy and vision, but don't discount the voices around you. So I think leadership, and tied with that, just high EQ, right? Like having that ability to understand and connect. You might sit at, in opposing functions, but how do you be the one to be the connector and find commonality to work together and to move the needle forward?
Have you had any role models, any mentors who help you shape your career journey over the years?
I absolutely have. Many of them I'm still in contact today. I still would consider them role models and active mentors. And I think as I progress in my career and I try to be a role model and a mentor for those coming up in the industry or in business, um, a few things stick out. I've always really appreciated the time that people have given me, but I've never taken that for granted. Everyone's busy. So how do you really maximize the time that you get with your mentor or role model? And I think a lot of that stems on being prepared. Going back to what I was saying earlier, be curious. When you do get the time, try to be a sponge, but don't force that person to do all the talking. You should be the one with the agenda to, ask the questions. And I think that's what's worked well over the years, and why some of my role models and mentors have, consistently been around and been supportive of my career.
If there is one key career lesson that you learned the hard way, what would it be that you can share with us?
I'm going to give you two.
Okay, we'll take it.
Okay. The first is learn how to say no. I think, especially when you're younger in your career, you want to be open-minded. You want to take on all the learning experiences that you can, but you need to be intentional about your time. Otherwise, the job runs the risk of running you instead of you running the job. So figure out that balance, figure out a way to say no, ruthlessly prioritize. That would be number one. Number two, take a risk. If someone says something to you and it makes your stomach drop, you might want to go do the thing, whether that be trying something that you've never done before, moving to a different function, even if you swing back to your original function, just to get that experience. And then I always have to give a plug for, if someone says to you, will you move here? Say yes. Even if it's on the other side of the world, even if it's inconvenient for the family, you'll figure it out. And it will be one of the best learning and growth experiences that you could ever give yourself.
We have a little tradition in the American Business Podcast. I have a question for you coming from our previous guest, and I'll ask you to leave me a question. In this episode, I'll ask your question to our coming guest in the next episode. And the question for you from our previous guest is, how do you prepare your business for the unexpected?
It is the $1 million question. I think the question started to arise during COVID in 2020 when everyone went, we don't have a playbook for this. And I think the answer is, you need to scenario plan. You need to constantly be assessing risk, but you also need to be flexible and resilient, because we've seen in the last few years that the unimaginable will all of a sudden become imaginable. So how can you prepare for the unimaginable? You don't want to be totally caught off guard. So there are, of course, things that you can do like risk analysis and whatnot, and make sure that is, whether it's something that's coming through a regulatory function, communications, legal, that conversation is prioritized and has a seat at the table, because that's something that can help you as a business navigate when inevitably the unexpected arises.
I love the risk assessment part of the operations, especially scenario-based, thinking about scenarios, preparing for them. So for this type of studies, internal studies, how often a company must do it?
Yeah, really good question. In my experience, I've seen it done on a monthly basis. I've seen it done on a quarterly basis, biannual basis. I'm a fan of quarterly. if you can start the year with a very clean, what are the top 5 risks, top 10 risks, have them ranked in a traffic light fashion,
Mhm.
and then it should be each executive owner or functional owner should have onus to one or more of the risks and be working consistently with their team to track. And then, of course, if something should get elevated from a green to a yellow, from a yellow to a red, that should be coming before the quarter check-in mark. So I would say from a process perspective, quarterly at probably the executive or board level, but monthly on an ongoing basis within the individual teams, just to make sure that you're not sleeping on a green to a red, and then you've got yourself a big issue.
What is your question for the next guest in the American Business Podcast?
So I think no matter what industry you're in nowadays, whether you're on the corporate side, whether you're at an NGO, government entity, a big bank, the buzzword is transformation.
Mhm.
So the question in that would be, how do you see transformation playing out in the next few years? And do you think it's a buzzword that will go away, or will we forever in the near term be in this transformative state?
Okay, perfect. We'll make sure to ask that question. Thank you very much.
Yes, of course.
In this episode, is there any question that you would like to ask me?
Yeah, you have such an interesting background, and I'd love to hear from you a little bit on, how did you get to where you are today, and what are some of your key learnings as well?
Yes. Well, that's a great question. So, yeah. Well, we are all like, when you come to a certain stage in the career journey, especially when you become senior, decades of experience, you are a product of your experience, really. Like what you have experienced, what you learn, it just makes you who you are right now professionally. So that's what I'm seeing. Like when I'm look at my professional career, it's a mix of industries: manufacturing, import, export, technology, consulting, professional services. So all these, like, after a while, just accumulates and make you who you are. So that's what I'm seeing. And you never know what the life will bring you, really, in terms of professional experience and what you'll see. You just accept it. You just work with it. Do your best. Learn as much as you can. And that's what I see for the American Business Podcast over the years. So nowadays, when I'm looking at the American Business Podcast, it's actually a platform that we invite professionals like yourself, and we learn from professionals. That's the platform. And I love creating these environments. That's what I learned over the little over a year with the American Business Podcast. I love facilitating and creating the environment that others can learn from each other in a meaningful way. So that's what I will say. And there are a lot of lessons that we learn in the American Business Podcast. So this is our 161st episode. And each professional, they bring a wealth of knowledge and professional insight, which is a blessing for us to learn from. And some of the insights that we learn in terms of having character, having leadership, having the hard work, and also being open-minded, and just like you mentioned earlier, being curious, like to learn new things, because the change is constant and we need to stay on top of it, so we won't be outdated. Actually, we'll learn and we'll improve ourselves and the organization. So these are really important lessons that I've been learning from professionals, from yourself and others as well. At the end of the day, though, see, we need to always keep these in mind, and we need to put it to work. Like the hard work, the discipline, no one is going to do it for you. We got to do it ourselves, right? So we have to keep it in mind, keep these principles and strategies in mind, and then put the work. Yep. That hard work is there for us to deliver. I mean, that's what I've been seeing. So that's amazing. I mean, that's why sometimes I see the American Business Podcast as a school.
Yes.
So we learn from each other. Of course, that's a great opportunity for me that I'm learning from professionals like yourself and others. And having these is very important
You
And
may even turn that into an official certificate, right? If you've listened to 20 episodes, maybe you get this sort of accreditation, or 100 episodes.
I love this idea. I never thought about it. That's great.
Create
Thank you
your
for
own
saying that. Yes.
school and certification program.
I love that. Yes. Why don't we do that? Because
Yeah.
see, the first we start as a podcast, and
Mhm.
then we turn it out to be a network because we have segments now. We talk about variety of business subjects, and now it's going to become a media and business platform.
Mm.
So it's actually evolving, and definitely the education is already there, but then certifying it and documenting it is I think that's a great idea. So definitely that's something doable. Yeah, thank you for that.
Of course.
I love this conversation. Okay, great. Well, what is your career advice for the next generation professionals?
Hard question. I know each generation comes with its stereotypes, the good and the bad. And I
That's
think
true.
my biggest piece of advice for Gen Z would be stay young, or sorry, stay don't stay young. We all grow old. You can't stay young. Stay young at heart. Stay curious. Stay curious and stay hungry. Um, Keep that ambition, but also marry it with that curiosity, because that will become a powerful cocktail. Um, don't accept things just because that's the way they've always been. And I think the older generations will be looking to the new generations to show them the way in terms of technology transformation, and just as it's always been. And so be the teacher as much as the listener, as much as the student. Be respectful, but yeah, just go for it. Show up, do the job. Yeah.
For those who like to be in touch with you, learn more about you, your organization, and continue this conversation, what is the best way that they can get in touch with you and
Yeah,
learn about your company?
sure. So two ways to do that. Either feel free to follow me on LinkedIn. Dana Edelman is my name. You can find me there. Or go to danaadelman.com, my website, and you can learn more about my book. It will send you off to LinkedIn as well, or there are other ways to connect.
Dana, thank you so much for sharing your professional insights and your professional wisdom with us in the American Business Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and I wish you a great weekend.
You too. Enjoy.
Thank you very much. And to our audience and to our listeners, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, another informative, educational episode in the American Business Podcast. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. We'll be right back after a short break. Thank you. Would you like to listen to music during your work time? We are here to help. We created ABP Office Music Pod, powered by the American Business Podcast. ABP Office Music Pod is for you, the working professional. You can enjoy jazz, lo-fi, smooth jazz, classic music, and more during your work time. We keep the music positive and energetic. You can go to the YouTube channel of the American Business Podcast, or you can scan this QR code and start listening right away. There is more coming in the American Business Podcast, and this is one of them. Enjoy ABP Office Music Pod during your work time, and thank you very much for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit for Business. There are more than 440 million visitors weekly on Reddit. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable and millions of users are going to Reddit to get the real feedback from real people. It is the number one source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on that I'd like you to consider and take advantage of. When you spend $500 on Reddit for advertising, you'll get $500 in advertising credit. True story. I am a Reddit user, and anytime I like to have feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit and I talk to Reddit communities. I get the real feedback and real review from real people and real communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising. Get the visibility for your company, for your products and services on Reddit with Reddit advertising. Reach people ready to buy your products and services with Reddit advertising. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Kerr Consulting, now Cherry Baker. Anywhere Apps are designed to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Anywhere Apps are family of business software products. There are more than 40 products available for business process digitization and automation. Anywhere's apps are easy to use, they are standalone, and they are also ready to integrate with your ERP and accounting software systems. Today, I'd like to promote APS Anywhere, which is part of Anywhere Apps software product portfolio. APS Anywhere, designed for manufacturing companies. Whether you are a process manufacturing company, food and beverage, chemical, and more, or a discrete manufacturing company, automotive, aerospace, electronics, and more. APS stands for Advanced Planning and Scheduling. APS Anywhere is ready to streamline, digitize, and automate your production planning process. As you know, in manufacturing, production planning is not easy. There are always some bottlenecks and challenges. You need to put together your resources, 3M, man, machine, and material. APS Anywhere designed to streamline this process and automate it for you. It is a modern system. It runs on cloud. It also has deployment options for installation on your server or your private cloud environment. The system is scalable. It comes with unlimited number of production planning scenarios, meaning before you execute, you can see the financial implications and timing of your production planning on APS Anywhere. APS Anywhere comes with a very colorful and easy-to-use Gantt chart so that you can see your production planning on a colorful and easy-to-operate Gantt chart before you finalize your production planning purposes. The system is also integratable. It is ready to integrate your ERP system, MRP system, and other systems whenever there is a need. It is designed for manufacturing companies by manufacturing experts. It also comes with ready-made reports if you like to utilize. Furthermore, on APS Anywhere, we can also use demand forecasting function, meaning based on your past manufacturing and sales figures, the system can predict what will be your demand in the future. This will help you manage your supply chain in a more productive manner. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and you can learn more about APS Anywhere as well as Anywhere App software system in general. There is more. I have a direct line for you. You can send me a direct email, kevin@kerconsulting.com. kevin@kerconsulting.com, and I'll be happy to hear from you about Anywhere Apps, APS Anywhere, or any Anywhere Apps that is offered by Anywhere Apps by Kerr Consulting, now Cherry Baker. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Otter AI. Otter is the AI note taker that builds your knowledge and powers your workflow with transcription, automated summaries, AI chat, and more. Get your AI-powered assistant for meeting notes, tasks, and more. Scan the QR code on the screen and sign up today. Otter AI is the latest note taker that you can utilize, and you can set your meetings You can take your notes, and you can also set up your follow-up actions automatically with the help of the other AI. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from DocuSign. If you are signing vendor contracts and customer contracts very often, just like I do on daily basis, consider DocuSign. DocuSign is the latest modern digital and electronic signature software system. Furthermore, you can manage your vendor contracts, customer contracts, NDAs, and any other commercial contracts on DocuSign digitally with no need of local installation and no need of keeping your documents on your laptop or your mobile device. Furthermore, with the latest technology of DocuSign, it has intelligent agreement management. It recognizes your repeated documents and creates contracts automatically and makes things easier for you. Do you know how many users are there for the DocuSign system? More than 1 billion users. There are many companies using DocuSign and trust DocuSign for electronic and digital signature. True story. I also use DocuSign on daily basis and it works smoothly. Highly recommended. You see the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you fill up the form to start your free trial and join the DocuSign user community. Enjoy your DocuSign experience, and I hope you sign up today. I have the QR code on the screen. Thank you very much, and enjoy the experience. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Gemini Trust. Gemini makes crypto simple. Find, trade, and buy over 70 different coins, including Bitcoin and Solana, on the best cryptocurrency platform. Gemini Trust. Start trading crypto here. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and start signing up today. Because they have a great customer service, you can reach out to them and get assistance 24/7. Scan the QR code and start trading crypto on Gemini. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Wizen. At the American Business Podcast, we always talk about continuous improvement and professional development. That is why we partner with Wizen, trust the nation's largest network for tutoring. Wizen helps you find the tutor that you need in many different subjects: chemistry, computer, foreign languages, geometry, English, music, physics, reading, SAT, science, and many more. I have the QR code on the screen that you can sign up and start searching for tutors and enjoy the learning experience and continuous improvement as we always talk about in the American Business Podcast. Scan the QR code and sign up for Wizen today. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is bringing you foreign languages. Learn from the experts, choose your plan to get started, sign up today. New Year is coming, and if your New Year resolution is learning a foreign language, Rosetta Stone is the choice for you. Rosetta Stone is offering you a long list of foreign languages: French, Italian, German, Chinese, Greek, Turkish, Polish, Portuguese, Vietnamese, and many more languages are available for you to get started today. Scan the QR code on the screen and sign up for Rosetta Stone and enjoy the learning experience of foreign language. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Care Consulting, now Cherry Beckert. Anywhere Apps are business software systems, and they are designed to digitize and automate your business processes. Today, I like to focus on contract management anywhere as part of Anywhere Apps software product portfolio. Contract Management Anywhere is an AI-powered vendor, customer, and legal contract management software system. It is modern, it runs on cloud, it's easy to use, and it's scalable. Because of the AI capabilities of the system, software comes with an AI chatbot that you can get your answers about any contracts that you have. Renewal dates, amounts, start dates, and other details can be learned from the system in a conversation. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code to learn more about contract management anywhere, as well as Anywhere apps in general. There is more. I have a direct email for you. You can send me a direct email about Anywhere apps and contract management anywhere. Kevin@careconsulting.com. I'll be happy to help you and help you schedule a demo session with Team Anywhere apps. Looking forward to hearing from you, and I hope you enjoy Anywhere apps. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Norton, advanced tech for advanced threats. Sign up today. Norton offers you different packages to completely save and secure your data and your devices. Each Norton package comes with antivirus, malware, ransomware, and hacking protection capabilities. In addition, there is VPN, private internet connection, dark web monitoring, and parental control capabilities in each package. There is a promotion going on right now. I have the QR code on the screen. You can get up to 60% discount if you sign up right now for one of the packages. There are packages of Deluxe, Standard, Plus, and Select. Depends on the number of devices that you like to connect, as well as the features that you like to utilize when you are using Norton. I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you'll see the different packages and options available for you. Scan the QR code, go to the page that you like to sign up, pick the package that you like to use, and sign up today. True story. I am also using Norton on a daily basis, and I know all of my devices are secure every single day, thanks to Norton. Scan the QR code on the screen and start using Norton today and save your devices and your data in a safe and secure manner with the help of Norton. Thank you very much and enjoy the experience.